politicians are going to have to follow us because they're not listening to us. They're going to have to follow us. We are leading this grassroots movement and they're going to have to follow us.
Yeah.
Today is a very special day. Not only did Joel Salatin arrive from the snowstorm in Virginia, but it's also his birthday. How about we sing Happy Birthday to you, Happy Birthday to you, Happy Birthday dear Joel, Happy Birthday to you.
Is it on now?
Yeah.
You know what's cool about coming to Australia on your birthday is that I get 2 of them. Because I picked up the day. Today's the 19th, tomorrow's the 19th in Hull. So you get 2. Thank you. That's very, very kind. Yeah, I've had quite a travel ordeal, but it's really delightful to see you here and see the power of this what I call the integrity food freedom movement. You know, in the U.S. we have the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund, which has come alongside us farmers and gives us a 24/7 real-time hotline for when we get bureaucratic harassment. And we've actually used it 3 times in just 3 years. We had a chef call us in a panic. They just came in and threw out all of your eggs. Said that they're illegal to sell. And I said, oh, okay. He was panicked because we service like 50 restaurants. I said, all right, give me the infraction number, the code, and the name of the health department official that did it. So he gave that to me. I called Department of Consumer Legal Defense Fund. Pete Kennedy answered the phone. I gave him the information. 24 hours later, the health department issued an apology, said we overstepped our bounds, we were wrong. How long do you think it would have taken me as a dumb farmer to get that kind of concession from the bureaucrats? So this is a powerful thing to come alongside those of us who actually believe, we believe some really different things than the folks up in these ivory towers. We actually believe that we're smart enough to make our own food choices. If you read my book, The Sheer Ecstasy of Being a Lunatic Farmer, you'll see where I've actually taken out verbatim words from our ag and consumer officials, where they say that the consumer is not smart enough to make food decisions. And I mean, this is the actual, record. We live in a time when our government officials equate sterility with safety. Now, I've got news for you. I've had a weird eating situation for the last, trip here while I've been coming over, but I've still got 3 trillion bacteria inside of me right now. So do you, so does everybody walking around out here. We are not sterile. And that bacteria doesn't know what to do with monosodium glutamate. It doesn't know what to do with high fructose corn syrup. It doesn't know what to do with red dye 29 and a host of other adulterated, irradiated, homogenized, reconstituted, I pull up the thesaurus, but you get the drift, unpronounceables that are brand new in our system. According to the government agents, as long as it doesn't kill you fast, it's safe. I'm reminded of when my friend Bill Wolf was trying to register seaweed, kelp, as a soil amendment, and one of the things that one of the boxes he had to check was what was called lethal dose. That's how they measure, something's safe or not, lethal dose. Well, he fed these rats, he had to do a rat test, kept feeding these rats seaweed, and they just kept getting healthier and healthier and stronger, wouldn't die, so he couldn't check the box. There was no lethal dose, so he finally put a bunch of water in, took one and drowned it in, and, that was lethal dose. but the, you know, the government takes GMO potatoes, does a 30-day feeding trial, and says, well, it didn't kill the rats, so it's okay. And yet you and I know that the memory of our DNA, the memory of our epigenetics is way longer than any 30 days. There's a slinky effect. There's a long time. Well, you could go out here and smoke a pack of cigarettes today and it probably wouldn't kill you, but that doesn't mean that they're safe. And so we have a very skewed idea of safety. And then the other thing is that when you look at personal choice always gets messy. Like in the U.S., you know, we know that 50 children this summer, we're in our winter now, so I left the blizzard at home, but anyway, this summer, we're going to have 50 children drown in backyard swimming pools. We know that happens every year. But do they close down backyard swimming pools? No. But we haven't had 50 people die from raw milk maybe forever. And yet there's a huge backlash at it. So you know you pick your risk, and giving people the freedom to own and affirm our own body, I think, is the most fundamental freedom there is. We have the freedom to assemble, to worship, to speak. Well, what good is it to have those freedoms if we don't have the freedom to choose our body's fuel to give us the energy to go pray, preach, and get together? It's like liberty has become simply a topic for academic focus groups. You know, liberty and freedom don't have hands and feet. That's just something that you talk about in a focus group. And I would suggest that unless you can taste freedom, unless you can feel freedom, unless you can eat freedom, unless you can carry freedom, it's nothing more than a bunch of political fluff that people just bandy about and talk as if they're in some sort of a little academic focus group. It has no meaning unless you can actually taste it, feel it, and touch it. And so my big question is, so who owns me? I mean, ultimately, who owns me? Does the government own me? Does my neighbor own me? Who's responsible for this 3 trillion member internal bacterial community? You know, they're in there having court rallies and, you know, school board meetings, you know, planting gardens. They're talking about the neighbors and, you know, getting together for graduation parties and, you know, all sorts of stuff. All going down here building highways and roads and arguing about, you know, the latest wetland development or whatever. It's all going down in there. Who's responsible for this community? When we talk about a developing community and developing an appreciation for community, I would suggest it starts with an appreciation for what's inside of us. And I am the gatekeeper for that community. Not the government, not the neighbor, not anybody else. And you know what? That means that I might buy food from an unscrupulous farmer that's dirty. I might kill myself. But there are a lot worse things than killing myself with the freedom to make choices. It's called tyranny. And you can decide whether a society is free or not by how it treats the heretics, the weirdos. You know, the Romans had a saying that you could tell the strength of a society by the number of laws. It said that the weaker a society, the more laws it had, the stronger a society, the fewer laws that it had. Why? Because when a society is very strong, hey, a few lunatics around the fringe, who's scared of them? Sure, let them go be weird, that's okay. We're strong, we're vibrant, we can handle that. But when a society becomes fragile, paranoid, fearful, vapid, weak, The only thing it can do is pass laws. You know, hype us up on testosterone and pass some laws. You know, all right, God, we're going to pass some laws. That's how we express our virility.
Put them out to pasture.
And I would suggest that the fact that we now take everybody who dares to think differently, who dares to embrace a different drummer, and try to criminalize them, marginalize them, and demonize them, indicates not a strong society, but an incredibly weak, paranoid society. Who cares if we want to buy food, have the food choice from the source of our choice? What difference does it make? My ability to hurt myself is fundamental to my self-actualization as a being, to be able to make that choice. It's not somebody else's to make. And so that's the ultimate expression of liberty. Liberty is a risky thing. Freedom is a risky thing. It's not always just, you know, cut and dried with a SKU number and a barcode on it. It can be a messy thing. So I salute what you're doing here. I encourage you to stay the course and to realize that this is ultimately a battle between freedom and tyranny. And the people standing up here with their weaponry and ammunition, their job is to protect us from the agenda of corporate cartels and people who would dare to take away our freedom. I'll close you with this story. I had the governor of Virginia come to me one day. He had his Secret Service detail with him, and you know, they had their little things in their ears and all this stuff. And he absolutely got what we were doing. And he said, so what do you need from me? How can I help you? I said, Governor, your responsibility and the responsibility of every other official is to be a veil of protection so that those of us who dare to be innovative lunatics on the edge of society have a place to germinate, to innovate, to germinate, to try new things, because it is out of us that we will service the antidote of what the industrial food system and the corporate cartel has created for us. We are the answer.
Thank you, Joel. You probably haven't had any sleep for 2 days and nights.
Yeah.
Okay, so this afternoon we are having a meeting to start up an Australian producer-to-consumer legal fund. And Joel's going to give us some advice on how we're going to get that happening.